So, to review, we've talked about currency. We talked about the top 8 most tradable currencies. We talked about how many people are involved with the European euro. We talked about there's 3 types of currency: coins, paper money, and banknote. We talked about there is a 4th type of currency, cryptocurrency. However, it is not as widely recognized, right? We won't touch on it as much throughout this class. Which brings us to today, talking about the functions of money. So the first function that money has, it has 3. First one that we're going to talk about, it has to be a medium of exchange. So we look at number 1. A medium of exchange is an intermediary instrument or system used to facilitate the sale, purchase, or trade of goods between parties. Okay, so it allows that to happen. For a system to function as a medium of exchange, it must represent a standard value. Okay, we all recognize this as being worth that. We all know a dollar is worth a dollar. Okay, it represents a standard of value. Further, all parties must accept that standard. Okay, we both agree with that. I'm okay with that piece of paper because that's really all that is worth a dollar. And you're agreeing that that's worth a dollar. In modern economies, the medium of exchange is currency. That's why our example is a dollar and a dollar. That's something we can both relate to. We accept that. Number 2, with a medium of exchange, such as gold, okay, if one party had a cow and happened to be in the market for a lawnmower, the cow owner, Moo, could sell his animal for gold coins. All right. So I'm going to sell, I got a cow, you got some gold coins. I'll give you my cow, you give me your gold coins. Now I'm going to go get a lawnmower, which he may in turn use to purchase the lawnmower. So I have to get that. Producers know what to produce and how to charge, while consumers can reliably plan their budgets around predictable and stable pricing models. Okay, I know how much things are going to be worth. I know my dollar is always going to be the dollar. My dollar will function as the medium of exchange. I can give you that, you'll give me that. There's value. Our second function of money, store of value. So before we talk about it being a medium of exchange, in order to be a medium of exchange, money must hold its value over time. Right? So over time, as we're going, money still has value. That is, it must be a store of value. It holds value. It doesn't lose it. We're going to talk about that, losing, storing, holding on to that value. If money could not be stored for some period of time and still remain valuable in exchange, it would not solve there's what we call the double coincidence of wants. I want something, you want something. And therefore would not be adopted as a medium exchange. We can't use that to solve our wants. We talk about needs and wants in marketing. Not we're going to get into it a whole lot. Number 2, a major disadvantage of using commodities. So around us, we have commodities. We have things that people grow. Around us, tobacco can be a commodity, such as wheat or salt, or even animals like horses or cows. As money is that after a time they deteriorate and lose economic value. So commodities, you can have wheat and it's going to deteriorate. It's not going to be there for forever. Okay, eventually it's going to go bad. Prime example with animals and horses. If you don't sell them at their prime when they're able to be worth the most, you're not going to get the highest value you can out of it. And that's what we're looking for out of our investments. In fact, holding money is a more effective way of storing value than holding other items of value, such as corn, which might rot. Again, I don't want a silo of corn. That's great, but I need someone that wants to buy it. We talk about needs and wants again. We've talked about that in another class in marketing. Right? But if nobody wants it, nobody demands it, nobody has the money for it, but I need to get rid of it, it has no value. Number 3, although it is an efficient store of value, money is not a perfect store. No, we're going to talk about investing. It is not perfect by any means. Okay, we will talk about this next topic. Inflation slowly erodes the purchasing power of money over time. So inflation, we're going to touch on that this semester, can slowly erode the purchasing power of money over time. It's not worth as much. Your dollar tomorrow might not be worth the same as a dollar today because of inflation. Money is the most liquid is good, store of value because as a medium of exchange, it is readily accepted everywhere. Everyone takes money. Except nowadays, you do have a hard time with coins. You don't get coins back. Keep an eye on that. Liquidity measures how easily assets can be spent to buy goods and services. So, liquidity, how quickly I can use it. We talked about that silo of corn. That's not real liquid. Okay, got to have the purchase price, got to have the right, everything's got to be right. Not liquid, can't move it quickly. So, store of value, got to be able to hold its value over time. And the last function of money that we have for today has to be a unit of account or measure. Money also functions as a unit of account, providing a common measure of the value of goods and services being exchanged. So we're exchanging $4 for something that's worth $4. I'm giving you my $5 item. You're giving me your $5 item. So one of the prime premises, one of the founding principles of that exchange, right? It's the measure. We can tell who's getting what for what. When we want to make sure we're on the same. Make sure you're on the same. Knowing the value of a price of a good in terms of money enables both the supplier and the purchaser of the good to make decisions about how much of the good to supply and how much of the good to produce. Produce, supply, because you got to make it, and how much of the good to purchase. Right? We talk about this in terms of our budget, and we want to make sure we have a budget. We're going to get into budget later on. So our three functions of money, right? Unit of account or unit of measure, store of value, and medium of exchange.